garden here at Wentworth Woodhouse has come a long way since the early film we published in spring 2025. The transformation has been truly amazing.
Funded by the National Lottery, initial work began in the old drying green only in late 2024. The aim of the initiative is a volunteer-led project to develop a space which will encourage community groups, local families and schools to experience gardening, to enjoy being outdoors, learn new skills and grow fresh and healthy produce. By early 2025, the drying green had been cleared and 2 polytunnels built by our in-house volunteer Polyforce team, with plans for a third. Supported young adults from Yorkshire Art Space were experimenting with early vegetable crops in raised beds and harvesting snowdrop bundles. And a new floristry group was making the most of our supply of garden daffodil bulbs for fundraising. An added bonus is that our visitors can sample delicious homegrown fruit and vegetables on the menus in our Butler's Pantry Cafe, Camellia House restaurant and Long Gallery afternoon teas.
All fairly small scale, you may say, but since then the garden has exploded. A third polytunnel and a modern greenhouse are providing much needed extra space. The field of flowers is glorious and the potato crops are already being harvested.
Much of the intense activity is down to a dedicated team of community garden volunteers under the direction of Helen Kelly, assistant gardener. And today we also have help from a corporate volunteering group from CMS Law in Sheffield.
We've been working this year in collaboration with our catering department to produce crops that will supplement our catering offer, courgettes, cabbages and salad crops. It's been really successful and we're now in a situation where we're going to take that forward and we will be growing more produce throughout the seasons.
One of our real successes this year is our potato crop. Let's meet volunteer Dennis, the guardian of the potato plot.
And we started in February and we've done a job of basically clearing all the area because it had never been used before. And this area is where potatoes have been planted. And with the help of other community groups, the ground was ridged up, the potatoes, various varieties were planted and all of them were named. And we've been watering them through the season and now we're in the middle of harvesting them. And we've had some early potatoes and some Desirées, which are pink potatoes, and they've been very good cropping and they're very clean potatoes. There's no scabs or anything on them. And it's been great to start harvesting them now, and we're feeding them into the kitchen sequentially. So every week we take another batch up and we've probably got another 2 months of supply for the kitchens. And we had some great feedback where they changed the menu from mashed potatoes to new potatoes when they saw what we had coming from the garden. We'll rotate this. So actually today we've just put mustard seed down here to dig that back in and fertilise the ground next year.
Not to be outdone, we also have a volunteer tomato expert working in the polytunnel.
Hi, my name's John. I've been a volunteer here since February, working in the community garden. As you can see, we've been growing a lot of tomatoes. I've grown tomatoes in an allotment in Durham and in Barnsley. We've grown 3 or 4 different varieties here, and you can see that they're all coming away really nicely. We've supplied the kitchens with tomatoes to date, so it's the first batch that we've had from here. We're learning a lot. This is only the 2nd year for the polytunnel. So you can see that we're going to put in big supports for next year. So we've got loads of ideas for next year and actually filling it even more with all the things that we've learned. All these tomatoes have been grown from seed in the other polytunnel, and we brought them in here when there were certain sizes. And I'd love to pick one and eat one now because they're just lovely to look at.
Following our experiences this season, we now have a plan for ongoing vegetable production of autumn and winter crops, staples such as cabbage, winter greens, winter salads. And we're experimenting with more unusual produce, such as edible flowers and micro-herbs. The community garden has also been a great success in supplying hand-tied bouquets, including rudbeckia, cosmos and dahlias, at our fundraising hub. And what better way to take home a piece of Wentworth Woodhouse than by buying a bunch of flowers, a planter of seeds, or a clump of snowdrops and daffodils. The RHS show, held here in July 2025, has of course been an amazing experience, with opportunities to showcase Wentworth Woodhouse gardens and to collaborate with expert growers and designers, many of whom have been wowed by our efforts in the community garden as well as the wider estate. We were thrilled that Chris Myers, award-winning Yorkshire-based designer, chose to donate the garden produce planted in his themed Miners Garden. He also generously donated the quirky greenhouse, shed and rabbit hutch from his show garden for an additional fundraising auction.
Our volunteer joinery team will be making good use too of the leftover timber from the show to build a tool shed here in the garden alongside the old pump house.
Viewers may remember the fast action piece in our first film, showing the old glass house being taken apart for rebuilding here. As much of the wood was in poor condition, the best plan was to recycle sound wood into cold frames, which have been the secret to growing on young plants in the colder weather. So what are our future plans for keeping the community garden fresh, appealing and accessible to even more groups?
We're currently in the process of a recruitment drive for new community groups that haven't had an opportunity to work with us. They will be brought in to work on a quarterly rotation throughout the year. We're also doing a recruitment drive for another community garden volunteer team that will be in here on a Thursday. So I'll have a team on a Tuesday, a team on a Thursday. And the idea is that all of these new people will help take this project forward. We've also been successful where we've been able to draw down funding to deliver horticultural workshops to various community groups, and we're in the process of doing that at the moment, and that will take place right through until April next year.
So that's the story so far. The transformation in just a few months has been amazing, from the skeleton of a garden to a thriving, colourful and productive space, which will give endless joy to those who get involved in the garden.